Welcome to Verse Breakdown. My name is Ewaenruwa Nomaren, and let's explore the verse Romans chapter 2 verse 13, which reads, "For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified." Essentially, to hear in this text is not just for the gospel message to physically pass through your ear, but it's more about you understanding the gospel message, seeing why you should live your life according to it. Jesus Christ said in places such as Matthew chapter 13 verse 9 that who hath ears to hear, let him hear. He wasn't talking about physical hearing because he was saying that to everybody, including the Pharisees, but he was talking about whoever has the ability to understand the gospel, to comprehend its message and meaning, let him do so. What the text is telling us is that it's not those who just understand the gospel who will be saved or justified. It's those who you can actually see the gospel in their lives. The gospel reflects on what kind of decisions they make, who they marry, what kind of friends they have, what kind of job they accept, their general lifestyle, their organization, etc. What makes them satisfied. Those are what make a human being, and when you are a doer of the law, you can see the gospel message reflect on all of those things. And to understand this, let's look at some examples. Let's start off with people who were not doers of the law, but they were just hearers. And we should note that they were never referred to in the Bible as righteous. For example, if you look at the Israelites in places like Exodus chapter 32 or Numbers chapter 25, they sinned against God, but they knew the Ten Commandments. Everyone was present when those things were mentioned, or when Moses told them to love God with all your heart, soul, and might. They were present, but then in places like Exodus chapter 32, they violated such laws by creating gods for themselves. Or Numbers chapter 25, where they were making affairs with and generally doing whoredom with the Moabites and so on. You can see that even though the Israelites knew that they shouldn't be doing such things with the Moabites and they shouldn't be making gods for themselves and so on, they didn't actually follow such laws. So they were just hearers of the law. But people like Joshua and Caleb were actually doers because you could see it reflect in their lives. The way they were positive towards going to the land of Canaan in Numbers chapter 13 from verses 27 to 33. And the way they tried to stop the riots that the Israelites were doing in Numbers chapter 14 from verses 6 to 9. Then, if you also look at Nicodemus, you can see that he understood the gospel message. He believed that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. But he wasn't really a doer of the law because the gospel didn't really reflect on his life. If it did, he would have rejected his work as a Pharisee and he would have followed Jesus Christ to the fullest. He would have been his disciple. He would have spoken against the Pharisees, exposed them, since obviously he understood how all of those things worked, instead of being on the wrong side of things. He believed in Jesus, but you couldn't actually see it in real life, and that was why somebody like him wouldn't be justified. He wouldn't be qualified to be saved. But if you look at someone like Joseph in Genesis chapter 39, you can see the gospel actually reflect the laws of God. Not committing adultery, the Ten Commandments and all that in Exodus chapter 20. He actually observed them because when Potiphar's wife wanted to commit adultery with him, he refused. He knew that his job was at stake. He knew that he would lose a lot of honor and glory, being thrown into jail and so on. But he was actually a doer of the law, which is why he prioritized obeying God's laws and let the consequences happen. Let you just deal with whatever comes as a result of doing the right thing. We must understand if we know the right thing to do and we don't do it, it is sin. If we read James chapter 4, verse 17. It's important we understand we have to actually read the Bible, study it, and let it fulfill in our lives. We have to actually practice righteous virtues, love, faith, etc. in Galatians chapter 5 from verses 22 and 23 in order to really show God that we are not just hearers of his law, but we are doers of it. To conclude, let's look at James chapter 1 verse 25 because it summarizes everything that I have said here. And there James the apostle told us, Whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. And that is where I'm going to stop on discussing that statement of St. Paul in Romans chapter 2, verse 13, which once again reads, "For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified." If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we make future videos just like this. Have a great day, and God bless you.